Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett,
And I'm Kevin.
and we are your hosts. Movie Club is the show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it, just like a book club. On today's show, we're covering the psychological comic book drama, Joker. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 2019, Joker was directed by Todd Phillips and stars Joaquin Phoenix, Zazie Beetz, and Robert De Niro. During the 1980s, a failed stand-up comedian is driven insane and turns to a life of crime and chaos in Gotham City while becoming an infamous psychopathic crime figure. It is currently ranked 81 on IMDb's Top 250 and currently has a 3.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It won 2 Oscars for Best Original Score and Best Actor for Joaquin Phoenix. It was nominated for 9 more, including Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Film Editing, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Costume Design, Best Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Director, and Best Picture. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a quick spoiler warning for the film. We are going to be talking about everything that happens in this movie, plot points, twists, revelations, and so much more. So if you haven't seen the film yet, which a lot of you have, this movie made over $1 billion. But if you haven't seen the movie yet, you can go and watch it. I believe it's on HBO Max.
It was on a couple of different services. I watched it on HBO.
It's on a couple of different places, but you can go ahead and watch it and come back here and see what we have to say. But stay tuned to the end of the show to find out what we've got coming next week, because it's going to be a good one, hopefully. All right, Kevin. So Joker was your pick this week.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So why pick Joker?
I remember watching this. I don't know if I saw it in theaters, or if I saw it streaming somewhere. But I remember enjoying it, but not reviewing it as what we're doing now. So it was good thing that we looked back on it and see if it still stands up to or holds up to its standards that I had back then.
Yeah, it's one of those movies like it was. I remember seeing it in the theaters, and I don't think anyone was really expecting it to be anything like truly extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, it's got Joaquin Phoenix, and he looks like he's going to give a really good performance. And Todd Phillips is a weird choice to direct because everyone just knows him from The Hangover, and so no one was really expecting anything, and then the movie came out and blew everyone away.
Yeah.
Obviously, like any film, it has people that either really love it or they really don't. I am one of the people that I really love this movie. I think it is, as we'll kind of talk about a little bit more later. This is Joaquin Phoenix's movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, he is the star of this movie, and it's very prominent throughout the whole movie that you will be focusing on him, and he had to give his best performance so people won't get not lost in the story, but doesn't lose focus during the story.
Yes, it's about him and what Arthur, I believe is the character's name.
Mm-hmm.
What Arthur goes through, because I just want to call him Joker, but what the character goes through to bring him to that point. And it's the most grounded, realistic version of what this character's backstory is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
for anyone who's familiar with the comics, we all kind of know the Joker doesn't really have an origin. Some have him jumping in or being dropped into Ace Chemicals, like in the Tim Burton film. Some just have like the Dark Knight. We don't know, but a lot of people assume that he was like ex-military or something and was disillusioned. There's a lot of gray area in the kind of the background. We also see a little bit in The Killing Joke, which is the graphic novel, and then also there's an animated movie about that as well. But here we get a full-fledged origin story, and I think that it is one of the strongest parts of this movie is that it is so, in being grounded and realistic, is pretty horrifying.
Oh yeah, I mean, just one person can turn the whole tide of a whole city, pretty much, is what it shows us. And he didn't even mean to do it. That's not the weird part, but that's like the strength he has when he finally realizes who he could be.
Yeah, it's obviously it starts out with an accident of sorts, or protecting himself, however you want to look at it, and then The people, there's already protests going on, against the wealthy, against the elite, and then someone who's going out there and kills a couple of these Wall Street type guys
Hmm.
is instantly a hero, and it just starts escalating tensions even more. And then because of the actions that take place on the talk show, ends up becoming this like citywide hero
Hmm.
in the moment, which is this really interesting like subversion where you think that it's almost like a glorification of what he's doing, but it's not. Like
Yeah.
the movie isn't saying you should do this.
Hmm.
It's taking the reserved approach. It knows that it's wrong, but the character doesn't feel that there's any other way. And also,
Well,
I mean, obviously, mental health plays a large part of it too.
and I feel like he's already broken. How can he get back up? Well, this is one way for him to get back on his feet. Pretty much is to be
Mhm.
this character that everybody wants him to be.
That everyone sees him as.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and it's really rather fitting that he gets his name from what his icon, his hero,
Yeah.
calls him as a
Hmm.
mean comment. Um, but it's absolutely brilliant, and I think that specifically the adapted screenplay Oscar nomination is really really deserved here. I mean, all the Oscar nominations for this movie are deserved. I don't know if it necessarily. I'd have to go through because this is the year that Parasite won. Uh,
Yeah.
so it was a little of a hard year for a movie like Joker to come in. But I mean, at least it got the awards attention, and I think in some sort of cosmic way, it's forgiveness for Dark Knight being left out of everything
Yeah.
and not getting any nominations. But um, let's talk again. Like we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but Joaquin Phoenix in this movie, the Oscar-winning Joaquin Phoenix for this
I mean,
movie.
had to be. I don't. I don't even know if he was just nominated. I don't think it would have been enough. He had to
Yeah,
get that. He had to get the Oscar for this
and
because go.
I was gonna say, as far as I know, the Joker is now the only character to ever be nominated or to win the Oscar for every Oscar he's been nominated for. If that makes sense. So yeah, I think the Joker is the only character who's been portrayed twice and nominated twice, and it's won both times.
Was it Heath Ledger the first time?
Yes, Heath Ledger
Okay.
won for The Dark Knight,
Okay. Good.
which
Yeah.
is like the most like obvious and perfect Oscar choice ever. But
Yeah.
so was this one this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the
honestly,
thing. They created two Jokers that everybody loves. Like you give them a choice between picking Joaquin's Joker or Heath's Joker. It's a very hard pick because there's two different sides of the Joker. It's the Joker growing up to be the Joker, and then when you get Heath's Joker, is he's already in Joker state, and this is what he
yeah.
knows what to do.
It's also very hard to like, and I can't pick a Joker.
Oh no.
I think
Mhm.
they're all good. If I was gun to my head, if I had to pick one, I would say Heath Ledger, just because he is the most horrifying
Yeah.
and most perfect version of the character. And that's not to say that Joaquin Phoenix is not. We should probably stop comparing Joaquin Phoenix, but like that was the Joker as the antagonist,
Hmm.
and here with Joaquin, he's still an antagonistic force to the city of Gotham, but he is the protagonist of this movie, and so you're seeing the character portrayed in a different light. You're seeing him
Oh
at
yeah.
home, like doing his thing. You're seeing him like before and it's so I think it is a much different interpretation, and you can even look past the comic book element of this movie and realize that it's it goes back to the core message of the whole Joker's character. Is it all it takes is one bad day
Oh
to
yeah.
make you into the worst possible version of yourself. And you see that here. You see how easy it is for people to slip into the evil recess of their mind.
Hmm.
You're seeing the human version of Twitter in
Yeah.
action. So like, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that, but I think is I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind.
That's all
I
good.
went that went out of my head so fast.
Hey, it's it's the end of the day. I get it. Um, But I mean, yeah, like it's easy to just sit here and sing Joaquin's praises. One of the other things I do really want to talk about with this movie is the score. The actual music for this movie is thoroughly unsettling, and is done very beautifully by Hildur Gudnadottir. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I actually had the pleasure last year when we went to the Academy Award Museum in LA. There was a little room that she had actually designed, and it was like an audio experience where you like sat in the middle of the room and there was like sound all around you. It was a really cool bit that they had there. But her score is brilliant, and the reason why I bring up Hildur and her score is because it then will later go on to mix with Joaquin's performance and then Todd's direction and his cinematographer's prowess in the bathroom sequence, which is one of my favorite and I think one of the best cinematic moments. Like if I had a list of the top 100, it would be on there, right? The bathroom sequence when after he kills the 3 Wall Street guys, he's running through the streets and then ends up in the park and goes into the bathroom. And then it's just him kind of like moving around in this space and Hilder's score playing in the background. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's haunting. And it's one of those weird moments. Like it is so disconnected from like how any of us feel like we would act in a situation like that. But at the same time, when you have that moment where like you have a hobby or you have something that you love and it clicks, and you have that moment of bliss, is that, you know, we all don't sit there dancing like this to a cello, but you know, like we have those moments where we connect and it makes sense.
Well, and it feels like when in that bathroom scene, he found himself a little bit, and that's what the score was representing. And him dancing like that is his when he danced with his mom after that too. He wasn't really much of a person that showed that side of him, but as soon as he did the deed that he did, he felt free a little bit, and that's what he portrayed in that restroom. And it really is haunting, like you said. It was just like, you shouldn't be happy about this, but he's a protagonist. He is happy about this. He's finding himself in this world.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like, as the audience member, you don't want the bad things to happen, but then at the same time you've grown to, you know, care for this character, for lack of a better term. And so it is a moment of like, it's almost like you don't want to celebrate, but you do. Like, you know, you're like, okay, like we're here, and it's just a really well done sequence. That's just absolutely beautiful. Also, I mean, the brilliance, and I guess this could be interchanged with the bathroom sequence, but like everything on the talk show. From when he comes out to when the movie ends is just it's one of the better endings in film history, I think.
I agree with that.
And I'd have to go back and forth and look at other endings, but like this is a very good one.
What, him just practicing when the curtains are closed before he gets on? He does this. Does he do a dance, or does he just like pose himself?
He just kind of like poses himself, but then he comes out dancing.
Yeah, it's like he's getting ready to do his big shot, pretty much his close up, and this is how he wants to go out on his own terms, which was really, really cool.
And like you just said, to go out on his own terms. This was originally, the joke was supposed to end with him getting shot.
Yeah.
But then you start to see, you see a little bit of the Joker's planning, but then also just the insane, like, spur of the moment type thing where he's constantly have to put up with, Robert De Niro's character, which Robert De Niro is great in this movie, completely unlike anything else he's ever been in, except for maybe King of Comedy, which this film does take a little bit from, which is very similar. But, and then just, when he just turns the gun on him instead, it is that moment, like, it is one of the best moments of tension, and because of the score that is gradually building up during that sequence, the dialogue which is going on is gradually increasing in its and its tension. It's obviously the entire thing is tense from the time he gets to the studio.
Yeah.
It's tense, but then as soon as he says that he's the one that killed those Wall Street guys, that's when the scene flips,
Oh yeah.
and
And
it's
you can
okay.
see it in De Niro's eyes as well.
Mhm.
He's just like, oh, so you're happy about this. And then I don't know if it was just me, but I heard the dialogue getting louder with the music. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's, yeah, it was okay.
I,
So I'm
I
like,
mean, maybe it may have depended on like your TV.
mm,
I think it might because it's like it's echoing the music, and it like well,
yeah,
they're also speaking louder.
yeah,
Like when Arthur says I killed those 3 Wall Street guys, he's kind of like retracting into himself. But then there's another YouTube channel that pointed this out, and I can't remember who it is off the top of my head right now. But like he starts acting more confident the
yeah,
more that goes on. So and like when De Niro starts to push back on him, he starts pushing back, and like the tones get louder. Like the tone of voice,
yeah,
not the tones. The tone of voice gets louder and like stronger. And I think that is supposed to mirror the music and supposed to get louder,
yeah,
100%.
yeah. And
And
I
then it
love
just
that
ends.
part. I love that part because it's a tight situation where you would be getting a little bit louder in what's going on, and how Joaquin Phoenix just makes the Joker look confident after everything he's been through is really, really, it's amazing how he can go from this low life person to an iconic figure that he didn't think he could be, just like
Yeah,
Robert De Niro's character. He was his figure, but he decided Joaquin decided to make Joker his own figure.
yeah, it's kind of coming into your own
Hmm.
in a way. And that obviously that sequence, the tension builds. Robert De Niro, gets a bullet, and
Yeah.
then it gets crazy. But there is that one moment when after he shoots him, and then the audience starts freaking out or whatever, and then he stands up, and there's the moment where he like goes back and shoots him again,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and then like turns back and then goes to do it again and kind of hesitates and then just throws the gun. That felt so real. Like I feel like if you've seen a couple of messed up videos on the internet, people do act like that in a situation like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Where they'll like, and then they kind of like, should I go back again? Should I double tap?
Hmm.
There is that kind of feeling, and it's really creepy to me, and it kind of the kind of way that it mirrors reality. And I think that moments like that are why a lot of people were nervous for this movie to come out.
Hmm.
Because I don't remember if you remember when the movie came out, but there was a lot of concern that it would cause riots or like an
Really?
increase in violence in specifically because a lot of people were concerned that this movie would appeal to like the incel community
Okay.
and groups like that think they're being targeted when they're not, and then cause them to go over the edge because they
Hmm.
thought it was a character they would identify with and get some sort of inspiration from. Obviously, never happened, and the fears were
Hmm.
unfounded. But it's moments like that that make me go, yeah, I could see why there's a little
Yeah.
bit of alarm. Like it just feels a little too real.
Yeah, it does. But I liked how Joaquin didn't do it fast when he shot the second time. He shot Robert De Niro, and then he doesn't go quickly to the next shot.
Hmm.
He just maneuvers slowly and then puts another bullet, and then slowly turns back and then slowly turns back again. He's contemplating, should I do it one more time or is that too much?
Yeah.
That's what I got from it. And he goes, "Oh no, that's two is enough.
Will
Three
one
would
more
be
make
too
me
much."
feel better?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And it's just it is just absolutely brilliant. And one of the other sequences I did want to ask if you picked up on. So obviously in the movie, Zazie Beetz is in the movie. She plays his neighbor or someone in the hallway.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And you start to see that there's a little bit of a friendship that blossoms between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then later in the movie,
I forgot about that, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is amazing."
when you realize it was all in his head,
Yeah.
like it is. Oh, it's such a brilliant sequence. Obviously, it there are people who could say it's maybe a little ham-fisted, and like
Uh,
to show you the way that he's been making it up instead of like subtle hints the entire time. But like this movie isn't made to be an art house like
yeah.
examination. This is just it happened to end up being near that level.
Hmm.
What can I say that this movie was made for comic book fans? Probably not. I would say
No.
this movie was just made for general audiences.
Hmm.
If I had to say, maybe a little bit more. I hate saying this term, but a little bit more of like not an educated audience, but like a little bit more of an like analytical
Yeah.
audience. Obviously, you have people who are going to go and see this movie who are like, "I like Batman," and then they're going to love the movie regardless.
Yeah.
Totally
Uh-huh.
fine. That's a totally legitimate opinion to have. But they like the people who can read into these things. I think we're going to get a little bit more out of it, and I think it's interesting because I'd have to go back through Todd Phillips's filmography, but I think this is probably his most like cerebral kind of psychological film. I mean,
Gotcha.
unless you look at The Hangover that way,
Yeah.
but
Some people might.
some people might.
But the thing is, the way that they introduced that plot or that twist in here, where he's just sitting in her apartment and she goes, "What are you doing in here?" I thought that was great. It wasn't like just flashbacks of her not being there. It was just like, "Why are you here? What is going on?" And then it
Yeah,
flashes back to everything. I thought that was perfect because it doesn't just baby it like you said, just, oh, she's not here, and then relive a couple of scenes where she's not there. It's like she was really fearful because she doesn't know him, even though
yeah.
he thinks she does.
You also don't know what happens to her,
Yeah, nope, not at all.
which is a little scary.
Hmm.
Like, was she spared? Was she killed?
Well, I think she was spared because of the nice memories that the Joker had with her.
True. Like
So
that
that's what
last
I
kind
think.
of like the one worker from his job
Hmm.
who's
Hmm.
like, "You were the only one that was ever nice to me,"
Yeah. Hmm.
and then lets him go. Like it may be something like that, and not like his mother.
Yeah.
Um, which is also really interesting. Like this film also does some interesting things for like the Batman world,
Hmm.
like the fact that the person who killed uh, Thomas and Martha Wayne was doing it because he was inspired by the Joker.
Yeah.
Because usually in Batman, the Joker comes around because of Batman and exists because of Batman to be the antithesis to
Yeah.
Batman.
Hmm.
Whereas here, it's almost the opposite, where
Yeah.
Batman will be created because of the Joker's actions.
Well, and I think in the comics, doesn't the Batman say the Joker was one of his best opponents, or that he liked fighting
No,
against? Really?
Batman hates the Joker.
Well, but I don't know when it was, but or where I heard it, I heard that he liked the Joker so much when they fought. That's why he was always the number one bad guy in his mind.
I mm, I think it's the other way around.
Okay.
The Joker is infatuated with Batman
Okay.
because he's the antithesis. Batman hates Joker. He will never kill him because he won't kill. Like
Mm,
that's his rule. He doesn't take lives. But like Joker does some really horrendous shit.
mhm.
It's not like I don't know who's a Batman villain that doesn't do it. It's not like Two-Face, right? Like Two-Face was a district attorney and then now he's doing crime. So like, you know, maybe Batman respects that a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's to say? I could be wrong. If you know the answer to that, drop it in the comments down below because I have no idea. Okay, so we kind of said all we really wanted to here. There are incredible videos all over YouTube if you want to explore the film a little bit more. But let's go ahead and talk our final thoughts and our kind of review for it. So since it was your pick, I'll go ahead and go first. I love The Joker. I think it's a very good movie. I think that Joaquin Phoenix gives his best performance ever in this film. It's central to the film. It is important to the film, and it all rides on him. The supporting cast is great. The music is good. The camera work is good. And maybe my only nitpick here and there is that the film can look, because of its color grading, it's a lot of brown and like dingy green. It's purposefully ugly. So it's
Mhm.
like that's why I'm saying it's a nitpick, not a complete criticism. So
Yep.
I'm not even counting that. But I think The Joker is a great film.
Mhm.
My only kind of major problem would be that you definitely have to be in the mood for this movie.
Oh yeah.
It is a dour, dark film, and because of that, it's not something you can watch all the time. Which that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I gave Joker a 91, which equates to a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd for me, and that's where I have it.
Yeah. I mean, just to backpack along with you. Again, Joaquin Phoenix is the main star of this movie, and he does this uh justice. Like I don't think he could have done it any better. Um, but the cinematography, the score in this movie was really good. Um, and I mean, the sequel's coming out soon, so this
Yeah.
just made me more hyped for the sequel. So I gave it 90 out of 100, and I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. Again, it's like what you said. Will I be watching this tomorrow? No, because it's so impactful.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So the question now falls to you. What do you think of Joker? Make sure to leave your comments down in the section down below. But remember to be respectful of one another because we don't want any of you turning into an actual Joker. Next week, we'll be covering the Brazilian drama City of God. I'm really excited about this one. So make sure if you want to watch it before we cover it and you don't want to get spoiled, make sure to do that because that's important. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to us here on YouTube and follow us everywhere on social media at Real Watchers, REEL Watchers. And also, we have our weekly live stream that goes on every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can join us to talk movie news, reviews, and more, and pick movies for us to be tortured by or just you want us to watch with our Wheel of Fate. So it's a lot of fun. But again, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep your eyes on the screen.